Achnomiwit, Image Panatot, Etete, Tis Humans, Tis Musqueam, Tis Squamish, Tis Tsleil-Waututh, Photos, Johan Hat, Tis Kukuyen, so Twit, Tis Reist Alpha, Tis Chut, Tis Insertnatum, Etete. Good afternoon, everybody. Nathan and Khalid, my ancestral name is Khalid. My chieftain name is Sukyo. Chieftain Campbell, I'm a hereditary chief from the Squamish Nation, and my lineage comes from the Squamish and the Musqueam families here in Vancouver, and also my cousins here from the Tsleil-Waututh. It's an honor to be here today to celebrate with our VCH family the important work that is taking place here at VGH around reconciliation and reconciliation under the leadership of Penny and Vivian and all of the board. We want to raise our hands in gratitude. It is good what you are doing in bringing us together, even though these are tenuous times with a pandemic. We are here to gather in a good way, in a humble way, to mark this day through the unveiling of the third installation here at VGH of this beautiful pole that you see before us. We gathered November 30th to bless and commemorate the first two poles that were commissioned for this space. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Dr. Penny Ballum at this time to officially welcome us on behalf of VCH, and then we'll commence with our protocols of calling witnesses and the brushing ceremony. Musqueam.
Thank you so much, Chief Ian. Always so wonderful to have you with us. Such an honor. As the Chief said, I'm Penny Ballum. I am the chair. I have the privilege of being the chair of the board of Vancouver Coastal Health. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging we're here on the unceded ancestral territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and we thank you for sharing your land and your territory and your people with us. I also want to mention that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and a lot of thought has gone into making this a safe event. We didn't want to delay having these events because they're so important to our journey of reconciliation. So I really want to thank Dr. Titus Wong and his staff who have helped us make this event safe and keeping us aligned with the protocols for following Dr. Patty Daly's and Dr. Bonnie Henry's instructions. So thank you all of you for aligning with that. I'm very honored today to be here and build on the ceremony we had a few weeks ago to raise the first two posts. To have these beautiful house posts in our house here at Vancouver General is a remarkable thing and very emotional, I think, for all of us here today and on an ongoing basis. I was telling Caleb that I have seen the stretchers that go by here on a regular basis, taking patients from the emergency department to the radiology department and other areas of our hospital. I've seen them when they used to just whiz through. They now stop and pause and look and feel the strength of this space. So it is very, very special to see the dream that many of you had with our Leslie Bonshore and our Aboriginal Health Program, and Vivian and our foundation and our leaders in this area to actually bring this space alive on our journey of reconciliation, and to have it be emblematic to our patients and their families from our First Nations and Indigenous communities that we do hear them, and we want our institution in VCH to be safe, respectful, and to be able to listen and give the highest quality of care for our Indigenous peoples. And we all heard the truth-telling that was part of Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafon's report last week, and I just think for all of us here, again, we can't say this often enough. It is absolutely fundamental that our Indigenous peoples come to us and feel safe and know they will get the best care, and that it will be culturally contextualized and safe, and that they deserve the very best from us. And we are on that journey. And I would just say that our board is absolutely determined with our whole team that this is going to be the way things are done. So thank you to Chief Ian Campbell of the Squamish Nation, Shane Point of Musqueam, and Chief Leah George Wilson, who I hope is here, and Gabriel George of Tsleil-Waututh Nation. Welcome. And a very special thank you to our carvers, Skokalem, Zach, congratulations. Halakton, who was here, and I had the privilege of meeting last weekend, Brent Sparrow, for creating these remarkable house posts. I also want to welcome the George family members who are here today, and Angela George in particular, who is our representative from Vancouver Coastal on the First Nations Health Authority. So welcome to everyone, and I was hoping our board member, Deborah Baker, would be able to be here as well, and I can't see her, but if you're here, Deborah, welcome. So these carvers and the poles are going to provide guidance, warmth, and strength to all of the Aboriginal peoples that come to this hospital, their families, their friends, our elders, all of our staff who are from the Indigenous community, and just the broader community of people who work here and patients who come here. I think that if we can make this institution a safe place for our Indigenous peoples, it will be safe for everybody. And the power of this room, I know, is felt by all people who come through it, whether they are of Indigenous background or not. Thank you to our partners at VGH and the VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation. They have worked with us to make this possible. And, in 2019, as we know, we were very proud in British Columbia to have the government pass the legislation, and we were the first jurisdiction in Canada in relation to the UN Declaration on Indigenous Peoples. And, just to reiterate, our health authority recognizes and is learning the implications and our role and our job in terms of bringing that legislation alive in our organization and with our public, and we're very, very committed to that. So as chair of the board, it's my responsibility to work with our organization and make sure that this shared vision is realized at Vancouver Coastal. This is a learning journey for us. We have a long way to go to improve the health outcomes of our Indigenous peoples, but it is our highest priority commitment in our work ahead. So today is a day of celebration and a day of honoring our artists who have done such remarkable work, and to continue the work that we have as our journey goes to reconciliation. So thank you so much, and to all of you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bell. We really appreciate your ongoing support and that of VCH. You've been a longtime friend of our MST families, and it's always good to see you. Thank you for your warm words of welcoming. And more importantly, thank you to all of the VCH family for your important work that you're doing for all of our communities during this global pandemic. We recognize that it cannot be easy, and your dedication and tireless effort has not gone unnoticed. So we are very grateful to be here today. We're going to continue in our tradition of our Coast Salish families by calling a few witnesses that are present here today. This is a part of our oral tradition to recognize one another and the lineages through our ancestral names. So when you hear your name, we'd like to invite you to stand up as our Aboriginal health family will come by and offer you a small token of appreciation as a witness. So, Habakulton siya, Nifunam Stams Paul siya, Aichka. Halakton siya, Nifaktano Otsam Emen, Hatsis Kokoyen Sotsiam. Sitzats Tanat, if Octano, what's on Amen, it's up to seats, which Kasia. Smanachtanat, Siam, Oichka, Hach, Tiskukuyeto, it's Dave Octano, what's up, Oichka. I'd like to also invite Dr. Patty Daly to be our witness this afternoon as well. Appreciate everyone's patience, as we know we would have a whole room full here today of those from our families that wish they could join Squamish and the family in their celebration, but we are doing our best to observe social distancing, so thank you for your patience as our family comes to shake the hands of our witnesses with a token of our appreciation for their presence, and inviting them to be the ones to watch, to listen, to take into their hearts and minds the significance of this day. We always tell our witnesses we have a great witness protection plan for you after the ceremony, so stay tuned. But with that, my dear family, we are going to now invite our brother Tsleil-Waututh will be the one that will lead the ceremony on behalf of our Tsleil-Waututh family. So we are going to invite Tsleil-Waututh Man and Tsleil-Waututh Man, our two Tsleil-Wautuths that are here with us today, father and son, to come forward as we dress you in a good way to prepare you for the important work you're about to undertake. Also like to invite Nanis, Aichkasiam, Atens Alwyn, Nanis, Mechuk Shetete Amen, if you can come forward along with Sitzats Tanat, our two sisters. If you can please come forward. These will be the two ladies that will be brushing the pole with Huipe on, with the Chapayaj, the sacred cedar boughs. So according to our traditions, we are going to dress these workers in a good way by covering them, to prepare them, their hearts and their minds, for the work that is going to be undertaken. I'll also take this opportunity to recognize Kana. Councillor Deborah Baker has joined us this afternoon, one of our elected officials from the Squamish Nation, who was recently appointed to the board at Vancouver Coastal Health as well. Haichka Kana. Just while we have a few moments, I just want to share a few of the words Poppleton and others shared during the unveiling and blessing of these first two poles, that this is really a celebration of place and where we are here in shared territories of our Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh families. For many years, we've been invisible in our own land, where the average person that works, lives, and plays in our territory really had no access to the information that spans millennia of our families celebrating this part of the world. So the visible presence of these beautiful poles reminds us that we are part of something special, that we live and enjoy the beauty of the West Coast as our ancestors looked upon it for innumerable generations. These become the visible reminders of lineage and that we are a part of something that matters and makes a difference. So that it's not just a pretty art form, although they are stunningly beautiful, they have deep significance and meaning that ties us to our lands through mythology, through stories of first ancestors, through ancestral names and transformation. And to draw forward that traditional knowledge and apply it in a modern context is a continuity of tradition, that we are not trapped in a museum, and that tradition wasn't 200 years ago, tradition is today. What we do today will someday be traditional. That is why we are following the best way we can the protocols that our elders bestowed upon us to do the best we can as the next generation, to uphold the integrity of these stories and of our lineages and the ancestral names that you heard called today. These are the direct descendants of those that lived throughout this area. We had many villages right below us here. Tsleil-Waututh, Snop, Smumchos was the burial ground below us. Squamish over here with some beautiful portals of water. So there's many, many stories that we want to continue to share with you. Now that our workers have been dressed in a humble way this afternoon, we're going to invite our artist, Musqueam, if we can invite our artist, Musqueam, to come forward. We would like to assemble him, to wrap him over both shoulders, to symbolize the love and the gratitude that we all have towards the artist, and also covering his feelings, for he put so much love and attention into this carving. It is now time for him to transfer that over to VGH, and that is a very special gifting from the artist to the place where this will reside, this beautiful pole. So we want to make sure we cover him in a good way and wrap him in a blanket at this time. In the olden days, these would have been Tsleil-Waututh mountain goat wool blankets that were made by our weavers. And the weaving tradition is something that has been revitalized thanks to many of our leaders throughout our communities. And we have a couple of wonderful weavers with Ange and Janice here and others that could not be here. It's been an amazing revitalization of language and culture.
I think that's pretty good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, keep that tight.
So now that Musqueam has been dressed and wrapped in a blanket, you notice the way he's dressed is over both shoulders. This is a term we use as a semko, to wrap him with love. The other workers have been dressed over their one shoulder, covering their hearts, so they're protected, but they're also doing things from their heart. The headband represents that clarity of thought and the connection to the Creator, to the ancestors. So at this time, I'm going to invite my brother Tsleil-Waututh to come forward to explain the ceremony, and we will commence with the brushing. Osio.
Tashwalab na Aquito, Sakiosiam na Swaka, Itsen Siet Ama, Nikwas Queequal, at Makwet Tanawel, Itsen Sietish to Siwan Ash, at Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Tanawel, Splits Quans, Fat Uchtan, at Chapeash, Itsen Quana, I Squallowan at Akin at Manash, Skak Nikwas Fats, Ait Hali, Ait Siais, Tanawel, Hide Set Erish, Hide Set Kasi. I just want to thank my dear brother, Sakyo Siam, Chief Ian Campbell. We go back to high school days together. We were good boys.
Still.
Right, Mom? She's shaking her head no. But I have a really good feeling being here today, seeing my uncle, Shane Point from Musqueam as well, and my dear brother, Rick Harry as well. I see a lot of my family here, and I'm happy to be a part of this work with our family here. I have a good feeling seeing this house post standing here today and all these beautiful house posts, and especially knowing that part of this is memorializing our late father, my brother Zach the carver. And so it's a good feeling, and I know we have a lot of work to do and a ways to go in getting the playing field level, but every step towards that makes a difference. And today I feel like this is a big step, because it is important for us to be recognized in our territories, like my brother said and some of the other speakers from the previous work. So today we're going to do a brushing ceremony using chape. The cedar is the tree of life, medicine for our Huelmuch'ach, Mosteo for Coast Salish peoples. And we're going to help separate my brother, the work that he put in, and the life of this pole that's standing now, that he can take the goodness that he needs. And we know that his good feelings, his hard work, it's going to be a part of this for all time. But today we just want to do our part to help take care of what he has and to acknowledge this new life. We're standing this ancestor back up today. Hide set Ewish, hide set Kasiyam. Just again, giving gratitude today. I want to acknowledge you, my dear brother, for completing this work. And I know that there was some challenges, and I think, given it's a tribute to our father, it makes sense, but things happened the way it was meant to happen. And I want to also acknowledge Quilacton, my co-pates, for helping my brother as well and letting it come to your home for a little while. And our laws were carved into these posts. And so today it's a good feeling knowing that our laws are standing up on this land that our people has called home since time out of mind. So I want to thank Vancouver General Hospital, Vancouver Coastal Health, for bringing our presence and our voice into this space on this day. Hi, Seb, Erich. Hi, Seb.
Start please nature,
Also, just on behalf of my family, I want to acknowledge Sitsats Tanat, Quanat, Angela George, my stotless, who completed the weaving that you see on the house post, and also acknowledge Smanash Tanat, Mana, Tsleil-Waututh, Mana, my children, Jade George and Cyrus George, who is singing with me here today. They also helped complete the pole you see here, helped with their hands in carving. And that's the beautiful part of our culture, to see my brothers passing on some of their knowledge, and not only their knowledge, but their actions to my children is a good feeling. And that's the way that our old people were. And it's so important for my children to be exposed to their aunts and their uncles in this way. So again, much gratitude, and thanking you again, my dear brother, Cholak, for being the voice today. Hi, Tzepka.
Heute kasem tsuwalo poetos chip yuan hat this pokoyetos with has quis lolum quis kachkach ti fais alkum slolum hat this pokoyetos ti fais alkum ti fwebe an ti house chuck. Thanking our singers for remembering that beautiful song, the Tsleil-Waututh family. Thanking our ladies for not hesitating to come forward when they're called upon to do this sacred work. This is part of holistic healing, the way that our Indigenous peoples know our epistemologies on how to take care of our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and our emotions. When we do ceremonies like this, it brings us together, connects us to those lineages, as mentioned, representing their beautiful father, Leonard George, through this carving and the weaving. It's so beautiful to see this coming together. So again, thank you, Penny and Vivian and all of our family here, Patty, for the important work here at VGH. This is the work we had in mind today, was to take care of this pole in a good way, the transference of this creation bestowed upon the hospital here, to welcome all visitors, Indigenous and all of our families that come through these doors to seek help. This will bring part of that light and that medicine to each of us. So at this time, we're going to turn the floor over to our witnesses that were called. Please share some words of advice and feedback that you'd like to offer to the family at this time.
I want to say to our host what I've seen, heard, and felt. The very first was your warm and genuine welcome to us as a family, to this Layla, this house, this home. Your wonderful words about connecting with us in this space, medicine / medicine. So I want you to know I heard that. I felt your words, and I'm truly grateful for them. So thank you. Thank you. What you're doing is right. It's the right thing to do. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank you at this moment for observing and adhering to our protocols, allowing us to do the work that's necessary. What you've seen, what you heard and felt, it isn't trivial. It isn't show. It isn't entertainment. In our language, yayas, yayas, it's sacred word, so it's necessary. So I want to say that to you. I want to say as well to you, the host, when I'm listening and I'm seeing these wonderful house posts, I was taught, I don't know about my relatives who are here, but I was taught by my granddads and granduncles that the 4 main house posts in the house, those posts, represented the grandparents of the ones who built the house. Male, female, male, female. Those are ancestors, grandparents. So you have 3 here to hold up your house. They represent each one ancestors of this very fine young man, Carter, represents his lineage. The strength of who he is here. Today, my relatives here, younger brother, we're all related by family. We're blood relatives. It's my blood relative. Younger brother, his ancestors are here. They're going to be here with this house post. My younger brother, Brent, not here today, saying the songs that you heard, the work that you witnessed is always going to be here. Many things are going to change. You and I are going to disappear and become part of our ancestors. What you're doing will remain here too, because what's happening is your thala, your heart, Tsleil, your spirit, has joined with the ancestors of this man, and my younger brother, to ensure that all of the people that come through here are not only healthy, but it lifts them up, brings peace to their hearts and their minds. So I want to say to you, you have done good work. I appreciate that. I want to say thank you to my younger brother. What you've done is something. It's of the utmost importance to the well-being of all of the people who are here who are sick. Your works will lift them up. Equally as important, all of the staff that come through here are going to be lifted up by your work. So I want you to know the gravity of what you've done is going to span generations. And that's what's most important. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the workers for coming. do the work that we do, removing, separating him from his work, but ensuring that this now is anchored here to do what it's supposed to do, heal human beings. I hope many people over the generations touch all people so they feel positive. I want to say thank you to my staff, all of them. I want to thank you for using your voice for the host. I want to thank you for your good work, explaining not only to her and staff, but to all of us what's happening. So I want to thank you for your voice. Thank you for your knowledge. In closing, I want to say this as a witness. 3 times you used the word we. We. Coast Salish language, Nutsamot. Nutsamot means we are one. Nutsamot, we are one. Nutsamot, Squamish, we are one heart and one mind. What you're doing is you're helping. You made reference to that great lady, Mary Ellen. You're helping her. You're helping all of us to become one. To become one. Not someone. That's so important. When I look here, when I come here, I come through the doors, your staff, really good to me. Yes, sir. Yes, please. No, thank you. So I listen to them because they've got kind voices. And I know that there are many that do. What you're doing is you're helping those who don't understand who we are, don't understand the length of time that we've been here. So their lack of knowledge of who we are allows them to misbehave in a certain way towards us. What you're doing here, Nutsamot, bringing us together as one. So I'm truly grateful to you, your organization, and this wonderful hospital, Nutsamot.
Martin, hier. Squamish. These 3 house posts bring us all together. I'm one of the carvers. I believe that whatever comes out of my hands when I create something, I always believe that it comes through me. Like what Hopakopan was sharing, the ancestors are coming through. Because I don't think about what I'm going to be doing until I start drawing. Once I start drawing, then it builds from there, and I start thinking about where I stand in today's society. So what's taking place here is very powerful. Snob, strong spirit. There's a lot of spirit here today.
within me and outside me. Even the ones who are here with their ears and their eyes watching over us. Thank you for watching and listening. It's always a great opportunity to be able to share our talents, to help bring people together, because that's the way I focus in my world. And when I was working with my relative here, that's what we were doing. I was thinking of my relative, because we're connected in family. And how we're connected is Harry family, Annie and Harry. And we're directly related to the George family. And the story I talk about here, my relative Debbie here, her son is tied in with the story of the double-headed serpent, Musqueam, who slayed the serpent. And we have another person, Carrie, named Wichita, who became a healer. So I'm sure with all these house posts here, lots of stories to tell. And I'm happy to be here, to be a witness for Zach's piece. And be beside him to help him finish his piece is awesome. His son's life and his relative and Dave's life. It's always good to have Oliver around. I knew him as a little boy too. Yeah. So it's always been good working here because I had nothing but help. Whenever I needed help, it was here. Even when we needed the ladder here, I called on one guy that was up top here. Do you know where a ladder is? He said, yeah, I can get you one. And it was here. And once again, my hands are up to all the powers to help make this happen. It brings us together again as one. And with the we's, we've got the three here, mind, body, spirit. We need that to be a whole human being. So Musqueam, thank you for allowing me to share some words today.
Patty Daly. I'm the Chief Medical Health Officer here at Vancouver Coastal Health. And it's, first of all, a privilege for me to be able to live and work on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh, and also to have raised my children for the last 27 years on these lands. And it's also a real privilege to be witness to this ceremony today, to stand here actually in this in the midst of these three incredible house posts. I would like to acknowledge the carvers, who are true artists. Thank you so much for what you brought to this space. These house posts are the culmination of a project that was the brainchild of Leslie Bonshore, who's our Executive Director of Aboriginal Health, to introduce a unique Indigenous cultural safety training program here at Vancouver General Hospital, at the Seagull Center, and in the Cardiac Sciences program, with the support and leadership of Vivian Iliopoulos, who's our interim CEO. And the raising of these house posts is the culmination of that. Now that program started before we had a global pandemic, and I know that has limited our ceremony today, but I actually think this may be the perfect time to raise these house posts because they bring healing and strength to us. And for all of us in responding to the pandemic, this is what we need now, this healing and strength to go forward. And I'd like to acknowledge that as carvers, you completed this during the pandemic. So thank you so much for that. In my other role, besides supporting the Aboriginal Health Team as the Chief Medical Health Officer, my most important job is to reduce the health inequities in the populations that we serve in Vancouver Coastal Health. And I know that Indigenous people do suffer health inequities that are preventable compared to the rest of our population. And I know that our history of colonialism, of systemic racism in the healthcare system has contributed to that. That was documented painfully but truthfully in the Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafond report in plain sight. First of all, you have my personal quality that I have not done more to reduce those health inequities. But you also have my commitment and the commitment of all of us here at Vancouver Coastal Health to implement the recommendations in that report. We are on a long journey of reconciliation. These house posts are a very important part of that. We want this space to be welcoming and healing to Indigenous patients and families, our Indigenous staff, and to all the patients and families and staff who walk through the doors of this hospital. So thank you so much for coming today and for allowing me to bear witness. Thank you.
It's really an honor to be given the opportunity to say a few words and to acknowledge the good work that's been done here today. It's a very powerful place to stand amongst these ancestors that have been raised here. Raising my hands, first of all, to you, the family, for this good work, the leadership, and the work that it's taken to see this journey through, and definitely through a pandemic. I'm sure threw a few curveballs into the project for everyone involved. Just want to say, as a weaver, I know the journey that you take when you create something for the people like this. We all, in our traditional ways, we all have roles and responsibilities that we have to uphold for our families and for our communities. And the role of someone who creates things like this, it's a journey. When you take that cedar, my understanding is that you're letting the ancestors and the Creator to work through you and through your hands, and for that to become what it's meant to become. So I'm in awe of the work that's been done here by the three carvers and everyone involved. It's truly beautiful. And my understanding of these artifacts are that they're holders of knowledge. And I'm really grateful that our posts and poles and canoes and weavings are being resurrected and restored as holders of knowledge. This is really, really important work to follow the laws of the land and to recognize where we're standing, who we are, where we come from, and the place that we are, and to build that relationship. And like was said earlier, this is true reconciliation. I really believe that you've done some good work here that's going to ripple on for generations. And my hands are really up to my brother, Squamish, for the work that you've done here. I know that it's been a journey because of what that pole means to you. And as to be given the opportunity to contribute a little bit to it is really a blessing to me, and just really grateful for that. I'd have to say that Leonard George was my late father-in-law, who this pole is in memory of, was a really great man who impacted the health of our communities immensely. He did a lot of work for First Nations Health Authority, not only the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and beyond. In the work that he did, will ripple on for generations to come. And so to have something like this stood up and brought to life in this home is really great. And I'm, as the mom of two my children that were involved. I'm just so grateful that they were able to make the connections that they did to their uncle Zach Carver through this work, and also their uncle Rick, our relative, Rick Harry, who my children were able to connect with through this. We're very closely related, and it's just been a blessing, the whole journey. And I know that it was a struggle at times for you, Brother Musqueam, and I hope that you are able to rest now knowing that this good work has been done in the very best way. You know, and now this is resurrected, it grows roots here. This becomes your medicine here. It's such a beautiful thing, and with that, I'll just say, raising my hands to all of you that made this possible. It's very beautiful work, and it's been a blessing to be a part of it.
Hello, everybody. And first, I'd just like to say thank you to our chief here for calling me as a witness. It was a really big honor. This is such a powerful, beautiful day to see these three poems. They're absolutely breathtaking, each one of them, and they all just complement each other. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see. And to thank you, our doctor, for initiating this and seeing it through, and your words really made me emotional when you stopped to tell us that the patients that are going through, and they're probably deathly ill and have many things going on, and they used to just rush by, but now they're already stopping and taking time and feeling the medicine from these poles, because they are really medicine. They're the artists that have done these, you know, like they say, they're in it, it's part of them, part of their spirits. And so it's just a big honor to see this today. And my family here, I'm just so grateful for them and so proud of them. And my son Zachary Musqueam, I know your dad is shining down and smiling, and very proud of you for doing this in memory of him, because he did work tirelessly for the people, and it was a really important thing for him, health. And I'd see him cry at times with the way our people were treated in hospitals, and I witnessed it. And so this is just so significant that you're doing this, because, you know, our people they're royalty, and they're all snuff, and they carry so much, and they've been so put aside over the years. So to have this recognition of the three tribes, and there's many more, but it's really beautiful to see all of these three poles here. And my daughter Angie did this beautiful weaving for it. She really has a real gift, and it's really beautiful to see her using it. And all the work that she does, she works in our community too, and she works tirelessly for our people. My other daughter Janice, the same. She works for her people, and I'm just so grateful that you call me Mom, and that I'm able to be part of this. And my grandson Cyrus, who helped, who's apprenticed, and my other granddaughter Jade, who was a cheer. It was so beautiful. I got the privilege to go down a few times and see with our relative, our close relative here, Rick, who my husband had great respect for, to spend time and see, working with them on the poles and teaching them you're such an amazing artist, and I'm grateful for that. And to our Siam Shane, I'm grateful that you're here and your words, and my husband had great respect for you and all that you've done. And, it's just a very emotional day. I just feel really blessed, and thank you for the time, and thank you.
Heute gaat je nou ja, wat aan, je want hart is goed voor je in zo'n twit, hart voor je nog nou hier. Het je komt to me. Thank you to our witnesses for not hesitating to come forward and express your love and respect and your support for what you witnessed today. This is a very important part of our traditions, is to take into our hearts and minds as witnesses what the significance is today, especially to hear hearing from you today. It's medicine to see Musqueam, doing this important work. As Gabe said, we went to school together, and to see you honor your father in this way. I had the great pleasure of knowing your dad since I was a youth, and had the chance to work with him as our three nations came together. Some of the significant land acquisitions here in our shared territories. And will always carry him in my heart, the teachings and the generosity and kindness that he shared with us as young leaders. So we're tremendously grateful for that. So nama thanks, Tewa, this is all the work that we had in mind today. Thanking Leslie Bonshore and her team, Aboriginal Health, Jake, and all of our family here for the good work you're doing in partnership and collaboration to create cultural safety. The fruition of your work is certainly something we will all admire and cherish for years to come. So thank you to each and every one of you. Please be safe over the holidays. We wish you well, you and your loved ones and your families. With that, we will see you again, hopefully in the near future, as we continue this important work. Once again, thank you to all of our healthcare professionals for taking care of each and every one of us in our communities. We pray for you and wish you safety as well, you and your loved ones during this time. Ojibwe.